Most lawn care companies crush it for 9 months, then watch everything fall apart in that one down quarter. But here's the truth. If you master the off season, that slower quarter, you don't just survive, you dominate. Because when your competition is bleeding cash, you're building profits, keeping crews, and scaling ahead. That one quarter is the difference between an average lawn care company and an amazing, high profitable one. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is really how to handle the winter season. For anybody that doesn't know, my wife and I, we built a 7-figure lawn care business. We have multiple locations. We've been through quite a bit of seasons, and we understand that there is always 2 to 3 months out of the 12-month period that revenue significantly drops for lawn care businesses. And when you look at that, the main question would be is like, how do you solve that? Because if you were able to take those 2 or 3 worst months out of the picture, and let's just say you had that 9-month period of the really busy season, I would argue, have a very high profitable business that probably is generating 25, 35, maybe even 40% profit, which is a phenomenal business, by the way. Whereas most of the time during those busy months, that is the profit that lawn care companies make. However, those 3 months that there's no revenue or not as much revenue being made, oftentimes the businesses are bleeding cash. They have overhead and salaries to pay, even insurance, like you're still paying on truck insurance during the off season when you're not really utilizing the equipment and the assets that you have. And so you are paying insurance on a truck that's just sitting in the driveway. Like, that's not smart or being a good steward of the resources that God has given you. How do we solve that Q4 collapse so that way you can build a more profitable business? Off the top of my head, there are 3 main things that I think of. Now, we're down here in Texas, so we don't have a lot of snow, but if you're up in the northern states, snow removal is a very profitable service. I think there's a lot of complexion to it. But again, if you want to own a business where you get yourself out of the field and not be on the truck every day, I still think implementing snow removal inside of your business is a good thing. I think that's positive. The second thing that comes to mind is Christmas lights. This, across majority of the United States, obviously people need Christmas lights in the Christmas time. That's generally about the time that things are slowing down. Give you a little bit more of context before I go into what winter services is and are. Down here in Texas, we really don't get snow. We get like maybe a dusting and like some ice in January and February for like a week or two. Like, that's it. We don't really get a lot of snow. We don't even have snow plows down here. So you can check that one off the box. We aren't implementing snow removal. Now, when it comes to Christmas lights, I don't like the idea of having my guys on roofs. And even though I used to jump out of airplanes and was a paratrooper in the Army, I don't like heights either. Like, that's kind of scary, getting on a 2-story house with a ladder. Like, man, I get nervous near the edge. Like, I don't want to do that. If my team doesn't show up and I got to go out and do it, this is not going to be a good day, everybody. It's just not. Those 2 for us are off kind of the list, right? The other reason why I don't really like Christmas lights, and I'm not saying don't do Christmas lights. I think it's a good business for anybody that does want to be more involved in the business and doesn't mind being like the operator and being involved with the crews and the teams and doing the work. Like, if you want to get on ladders, like, great. Do it. Make sure you have the right insurance. That's important. Letting them know that you guys are going to implement Christmas lights and get on roofs and stuff like that. Make sure you guys are insured properly in case anything happens. Outside of that, what I really want to talk about is winter services. Most of you guys who have been watching my channel has probably heard me talk about this before, but as we enter into the fall season, actually, even before I start elaborating on the winter services, what most people like disregard is leaf cleanup season, by the way. That is a big season that most people just like overlook it, and they're like, oh my goodness, the mowing season ends. Like, what do I do? Well, down here in Texas, so our mowing season ends mid to end November. That's when we really stop our bi-weekly mowing in the fall, and we shift over to more of a leaf cleanup season. All throughout December, we're picking up leaves. Like, that's a really big service. So just because the grass stops growing doesn't mean the work stops also. I would just transition that bi-weekly mow with your customers and be like, hey, we're just going to shift over to bi-weekly leaf cleanup services. We're going to spend the same amount of time that we are for the mow. You don't have to accept another new estimate, by the way. We're just going to continue our services. And the most easiest way, the most like frictionless way to do this is like just sending out a mass email to your customers and just telling them what's going to happen and just saying like, hey, look, you're automatically enrolled. We go into leaf cleanup services in the fall time frame. That way there's no back and forth or you asking them if they want the service. You can put in there in that blast email like, hey, if you want to opt out, no worries, just let us know and we'll resume your mowing services in the springtime. And you might get 20 or 30% of people that are like, hey, I don't want this. I don't want leaf cleanup service. I don't need it. And you're able to still be busy with leaf cleanup season with that other 60 or 70% of your customers. Hopefully that stays with you. Hey, real quick, my business partner and I built a private school community for people just like you, trying to build their home service-based business from the ground up. We managed to build a 7-figure lawn business from the ground up, and we're sharing all of the SOPs, documents, and templates and systems inside of our coaching program. You get access to us, so click the link in the description below. Let's scale this thing together. Let's talk about winter services. This is a big one. Most people just kind of close up their doors and kick back, sit back, watch football, and chill in the fall and winter time. This is when you can capitalize on a lot of revenue. I still see monthly upsells being very effective. Winter services is one of the biggest things. And what's cool about it is you can customize it to your area. Because we're down here in Texas, we're not going to add any like salting with our winter services or maybe like snow removal with our winter services. But if you're up in a northern state, you can add this. Now, all winter services is we stay on the reoccurring bi-weekly mow schedule. And we spend the same amount of time that we did for the mowing, which is for our lawns, generally about 30 minutes per lawn, because we just do small cookie cutter HOA residential properties. 30 minutes is what our crews is budgeted for winter services on each visit. And they will come on a bi-weekly rotation. When the mowing season ends in mid-November, we will start our winter service rotation. We send a mass email out to all of our customers and we say, hey, by the way, we're shifting over from bi-weekly mowing to bi-weekly winter services. You are automatically enrolled because you are on our mowing service. If you would like to opt out, respond back with opt out, but here's what it includes. And we put a list of winter service activities. And the first one is going to be leaf cleanup because that's the highest demand. So we're going to say, hey, look, we're going to come out and we're going to pick up the leaves on your property. If there's no leaves to pick up, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to trim your bushes, trim up the bushes in the flower beds, in the backyard, stuff like that. Okay, cool. If there's no leaves and there's no bushes, then we're going to pull weeds. We're going to pull weeds inside of all of the flower beds. All right. Now, if there's no weeds to be pulled, then the next thing is we're going to trim and prune any kind of trees that are on the property. Now, again, we only have 30 minutes on the property, so it's not like we're going to get carried away and start hauling off truckloads of brush. All right. We only have 30 minutes to be as effective as possible on the property. So that way the customer is getting a good value for their $50 mow or winter service visit that they're going to pay for 30 minutes. After that, now you have to start to get creative because generally speaking, when we go through our checklist, all December, we're pretty much picking up leaves. And then first couple of weeks of January, we're probably trimming bushes, pulling weeds and things like that in the beds. But come February, a lot of the stuff on the checklist has been completed. So now we fall into a weird thing where it's like, are we just going to, bill a customer for no work being done? Well, no, that's not morally correct. I don't think that's accurate. You shouldn't do that. That's taking advantage of a customer. So then we have to now start to think outside of the box and get very creative with what we can do. Some customers don't live at their house, so they want somebody to come and inspect the outside of the house to see if there's any gutter downspouts or to put covers on the freezing valves that could freeze for the water hose shut off and turn on. All of these things down here, we actually do get ice, once for like a week or two in January, February. Maybe salting services, like, hey, part of winter services is come January and February when the freeze comes, we're going to supply salt and we'll salt your driveway, sidewalk, and curbs. That's part of your checklist of like, hey, we're going to start at the top, work our way down. And while we're there for that winter service, this will allow you to make more money in the off season versus what most people do is they just turn off their business and they're like, hey, the grass stopped growing, so we're not going to keep mowing. Like, you're going to lose revenue and you're going to lose your team by not supplying hours to them, or you need to make money too. Like, if it's just you and you're a solo operator, guess what? You have to feed your family too, or you're going to have to go get another job. But if your goal is to build a business, you shouldn't be going and getting another job. You should be figuring out and solving problems like good business owners do, and figuring out how to solve the problem of generating revenue in your down quarter to at least make 50% of the revenue that you do at peak season. For example, our main location this year did 105,000 in monthly revenue, I think in June and July. Okay, that was our peak revenue. So our goal during the off season is going to be to maintain 50% of that peak revenue, which would be $52,500, is what that would be that our goal is to maintain in the off season. Hopefully this helped you guys kind of think through some of the winter services. If you guys have any questions on winter services, put them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. What I will say is one of the biggest recommendations, I would say, if your CRM that you are using allows you to take pictures, highly recommend it. Because here's the thing, if you show up to that first winter service property, let's just say they have really mature trees and they have really large canopies and there's just leaves like foot deep of leaves all over the lawn. If you only have 30 minutes on the property, do you think you're going to even put like a dent in that leaf cleanup? No. What you would want to do to protect yourself from the customer coming home and being like, what did they do? Why did I get billed for $50 today? You will take a picture of the 7 trash bags of leaves that you're going to haul off of their property for the 30 minutes you're cleaning up. So that way there is full proof of what was being done on the property. Also, what I always like to tell our crews is compartmentalize the property. So let's just say, again, we'll just use that scenario. Front and backyard has a foot deep of leaves. Like it's just straight covered in weeds. First off, I would say let's compartmentalize this. Let's just start at the front. Why? Well, number one, that's what everybody sees. Number two, we're in an HOA. So if there is a violation, they're going to see the front yard. They don't go into the back. So that's the most important. Let's start up in the front. Then we're going to say, okay, do you want to start on the left side of the driveway? You want to start on the right side of the driveway? Like, let's just compartmentalize this. So that way, at least when the customer comes home, they can see like, oh, the whole right side of the driveway is like cleaned up. Cool. Like we're making progress. And then on the left side, if you're not able to pick all those leaves up, are we able to kind of blow them all off back up into a corner? So that way, when the wind blows for the next week or two while we're not here, at least that pile can kind of get tucked away and cleaned up a little bit in their front yard. So that way they can see that like we're making progress and we're getting better. And then next time we're there, majority of the leaves will be in that corner. I mean, you might probably have to blow more after 2 weeks. There's probably going to be more leaves there, but at least it's a little bit easier for you to get there, clean it up, and not take as long. And it shows the customer you're working on it diligently and finding a good stopping point. What do I mean by that? Like if you start trimming bushes in a flower bed and there's a lot of bushes, finish the bed. If there's 12 bushes in there and you've only got 30 minutes and you only trim 8 of them, don't just stop. Like let's finish that bed. Let's clean it up. Sure, we're not going to get to the left bed because there's more bushes on the left side, but at least the right bed is all cleaned up. We can snap a picture, hopefully before and after, to show them the difference. Hey, we're actively working on this. We spent 30 minutes. We're not taking advantage of you and just wasting our time on the property. We're actually doing things productive. We're inspecting the property when we're there. We're attaching photos to show you what we're working on and utilizing this and tapping this in to your business and get creative with it. You could have a long running list of winter services. So that way, even if they crank out like the leaf cleanup, the bush trimming, the de-weeding, the pruning of the trees, like you still have like 4 or 5 other things on your list that they can do while they're there that brings the customer value. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you found this helpful. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and we will see you in the next video.